Girl, please. Somebody gotta be different. Somebody gotta be different.
Why not you, right?
That's right.
I'm trying to get
Oh
out of
my
here. I
goodness.
don't
Well,
like
good evening, good evening, good evening, ladies. How's everyone doing? It is
Well,
Monday. good
it.
What is it?
Evening.
May 6th. We're in the month of May. So, good evening to all of you who are joining us. This is the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network. We are excited to be back tonight, and we are going to go around and introduce ourselves as we normally do and say what we are grateful for. And so I will start by saying my name is Theodora Carter. I am a certified life and career coach and HR consultant. And I am grateful. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for another day on this earth. I'm grateful for these beautiful ladies that are in front of me. I'm grateful just to be here and have this opportunity to share with all of you. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Sheila Isom. I am an insurance claims professional by day, and any other time, I am an independent stylist for Color Street, and I sell nail polish strips. And I am also a notary public. And I am grateful for Breakthrough because we are finally, hopefully, and knock on wood, getting ready to see some consistent spring weather. So we can finally get out of that winter funk that we may have been in.
hey y'all. This is I'm known in some streets as Chef Regina. Other people know me as a vocational recreational coordinator. That's what I do during the daytime. And I'm also am the owner of RHN Unlimited, where I believe in breaking limits and building futures for families and youth. And also, I love teaching people how to bake yummy treats and the love of cooking and coming together. So, what I'm grateful for today is that I celebrated Cinco de Mayo at my job and made corn homemade. Well, I wasn't home; I was at work. But I made freshly made corn tortillas, and we did the shredded chicken and stuff. Oh, I'm stuck because I get started. But it was so good. Everyone enjoyed themselves, and it was really nice. It was a collaborative effort, and that's the other thing about when you're in the kitchen. It doesn't always have to be by yourself. So I'm grateful for the fact that I have a really great team at work, and we came together and made our tenants really happy by what we were able to put together. So that's one of the joys I have. I'm grateful for.
Nice.
Hello, everyone. My name is Regina Booker. I'm the owner of Season and Fabulous LLC, and which is women. It's never too late, especially 50 plus. When we get in our careers or our empty nest, and we look back and say, we're not happy, or I'm not where I thought I was supposed to be. Hey, start your journey, start your mission, start your dreams, your hopes, whatever it is. If you want to travel, whatever it is, it's never too late. And I am grateful for having our first retreat on April 27th.
Yeah.
It was very, very successful. And I'm starting to get feedback um, because I did make it a private event, but then I opened it up, and so many people have reached out and said, "Oh my God, I didn't know you did that. Why didn't you invite me? Why didn't you?" So basically, speaking to the choir, which is myself, it's never too late. In a way, when I did it, it was a little fearful, but I know the next one is going to be even bigger and better because people are still talking about it. And the ladies that were there have already planned 2 other retreats. So
All right.
or outings or
Yeah, I was going to
yeah,
say we have
out,
outings scheduled.
yeah, outings. And Theo was there helping, and I guess after that decision, they kind of hooked us together. So now it's going to be Theo and I.
I,
I was like, I don't know how I went from a helper
To co-organizer.
So you went it too.
to, to do a retreat. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
because they just automatically put me and Theo together,
Right.
which was great. It's
No, it was a really and you know what? And it kind of flows into our topic tonight, right? About celebrating Mother's Day and recognizing the role we fulfill and how we support moms. But I think it's just in general how we support women, right? Because it was a really great event and opportunity to just sit back and talk. And we say this show is geared towards Gen X. We welcome anyone, but the retreat was for women over 50, right? 50 plus. And it was just great to sit down and talk with women and hear, and share how we have similar struggles and thoughts, and talk about dating as, 50 pluses, but also talk about how we still like to get out. And because I think one of the outlets they plan is to go to a lounge or something, right? Coming up. So, so it's
and
cool.
I did hear feedback for one of the women that I invited because of her mom. Her friend is actually my friend. Wait a minute. Her daughter is actually my friend. I'm trying to get it together. And I told her it would be great for your mom because she brought her mom, relocated her mom because she figured, her mom, she just needed to be near her. She's the only child. So I thought of her, and we were on another organization together. So we were on one of our calls, and her mom was talking to, we were on a Zoom call, and she was talking about how she enjoyed it and how she wanted Theo's shirt. She called it, I need that purple shirt. And she can't wait to go to the lounge. And so I said, well, I'm not going to tell you what me and your mom talked about. And she goes, I don't want to know, but I'm just so happy that my mom was able to connect. And also I dropped I left something in one of my sisters in my other organization, loan me her, whatever those things called, pictures or something. So I dropped them off to her yesterday on Sunday. And she said, when I got the invitation, I was like, oh, what is this about? And she said, and she really wasn't going to come, but she helped me at the last minute because I figured I needed more help. Because long story short, someone that was supposed to help me, her sister-in-law got married. So that was that. And she said, I really enjoyed it. And she told me, she said, I've been journaling ever since. And I said, I never understood journaling, but the way that you said, you and Theo put that together, like they included us, Theo. And we went from station to station and how we were able to share. She says, if any other women would have been there or more, I don't know if I would have shared.
Oh, wow.
A great compliment of
Nice.
how it was.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And so that's the great part because, right, as we think about Mother's Day, right, coming up, I mean, there's so many things to talk about tonight, not only how we support one another, but also there are some people that are not going to be feeling that great about Mother's Day, right? Because they either recently lost their mother or they lost their mother a while ago and they're still trying to get through that. So, what does motherhood mean to you personally? Like, how has it shaped your life? Like this is going to be a lesson for me because I'm a just say I'm the one on here that has I'm an auntie mom. So, but what does motherhood mean to you ladies, and how has it personally shaped your life?
Well, okay. So motherhood gives you the opportunity to relive things for the first time through your children's vantage point. For me, I got to see when they got excited about things as they got older, or when they was like, "Oh, I know how to do this," and I'm laughing in my head because you really don't, but okay. And or seeing their accomplishments, it's you have something to do with that, and to also be able to help them overcome different challenges for my children, and to see them succeed. Like the best thing I have learned is that it really was a honor and a privilege and a challenge to be a mom, because I had to realize that as much as I love them, they were going to get to an age where they were going to be independent,
Mm.
and I was no longer going to be one of their primary persons to be able to tell them, but the relationship shifts. I become the advisor. I become the listening ear, not quick to. You also have to be mindful. We always can't be quick to want to jump in and save them, because we have to help them get strong legs. Like we had to get our legs strong, but also to let them know, especially because I have three daughters and one son. So, you want each generation, you want your children to do better than you did in whatever area that may be. So
Mm.
I think for me, it's being amazed as they continue to do things and grow and succeed, and the 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 pride and the thankfulness I get that if they've gotten into a challenge, I've seen them overcome. So it makes my heart feel good. Like I'm not trying to go with no time soon. All right, Father. Okay, I'm not trying to. I'm just saying. But I do know that I've seen them go through something to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, and that's a blessing, because you always want to know that if you're not around, they can navigate through life, and they'll come out okay. And I'm thankful for seeing that. Like in my own, just looking at them, listening to their conversation as their verbiage change, listening to their growth, and still being available and being a part of that, and just really looking at them soar and be their individual selves.
Mm.
So yeah, that's a snapshot of what it's done for me, and appreciation for that, being responsible for lives, and
Wow.
knowing that the things I've done had an impact on what they what they did in their outcome. So yeah, it's also thankful and very humbling too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyone else? What does how has motherhood like shaped your life?
Recently, I would say, just thinking about it, I have two boys, and I was a single parent. My husband and I separated and went through all that divorce. So I was raising two boys. So the transparency that I early on talked to my boys about me, things I did, and just being open and honest with conversation. And I just recently realized how important and good that was, because my boys can tell me anything, and sometimes they tell me too much. So I'll say, remember, I'm your mom. However, the openness is when they both say, if I can't tell you, who can I tell?
Mm.
Mm.
So that is very important, because I feel like my voice can come to me
Mm.
no matter what. And then if someone says, I can tell you if, because they tell me the good, bad, ugly, everything. So if someone comes to me, I can say yay or nay. And if I have a challenge or ask them, I feel like they'll be honest and transparent with me and raw. Sometimes they've been very raw with things. But it's a good thing. So I think that's the best, because I did not have that with my parents, because it was a secret, not secrets, but you can only say so much. They raised me very well, but when I wanted to really have an open conversation, I didn't really go to my mom or dad. Later on, but still today, is certain things. My mom is still living, and certain things I just wouldn't tell her. But
Yeah.
that's what, for me, the best part. And I grew into, you know.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's I had always thought that that I was a role model. I think that every person that is here should, in some way, aspire to be a role model, influencing someone, right?
Mhm.
Um, that was just reinforced when I became a mother, because I became responsible for this itty bitty baby that was going to have to go out into the world and forge their own path. And be a productive member of society, but more so than that, to be a good person. And the only way that I would be able to instill those values in him would be to be that kind of person myself. He has to be somebody, I have to be somebody that he would want to look up to. I have just one son. I have several stepchildren. So this kind of goes along for them as well, even though they're not biologically mine. But I wanted to make sure that I was walking and talking by example. And that is, parenting is a great responsibility in and of itself. But then when you add that on top of it, because I don't know, none of us know what we're going to see our children and our stepchildren and nieces and nephews and cousins become godchildren. But once that seed is planted, then it's going to be difficult for it to be uprooted. So that was my major thing. And also kind of getting piggybacking off of what Regina was saying was that I wanted to be able to, and it's not just financially or physically, stuff like that. I wanted to be able to emotionally give my child those things that we never received when we were growing up, because parenting was a whole different game, when we were coming up. So I just felt it was important that my child got to see that, not only just felt it and heard it, but to see that I loved him above all else, and that I would be willing to sacrifice a lot for him and make sure that he's happy, but at the same time, again, making him a good person.
So you said something, right? Like you said, like motherhood changed, right? Like from the way you were parented. Like I think you all said that, right? Like you all parent a little differently than how you were raised, right? So how do you think society's perception of motherhood has evolved now over the years, right? Like now we're in this whole new world, right, with all of this technology and electronics. So how do you feel like motherhood has, from the time you became a mother and have raised your kids, right? How do you think it, like, as you look at the world now, like, are you like shocked or amazed or what?
Well, I think too, also, the values that you instilled in your kids, you're trying to make sure that it gets carried on from what you were the way that you were brought up. It's not to the same extreme as it was where when we were growing up, it was like children are to be seen and not heard, because we know that in this time, children have to have a voice, right? And so one of the things we're learning is that, the family secrets are damaging to an individual in the long run. People are still suffering from those secrets, and they're in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and there was no one there to guide them or to help pull them out, right? So we don't want that anymore for our kids. But at the same time, you can be heard, but you better make sure that your voice is very respectful. So you're not going to be disrespectful. You're not going to think that you're on the same level as an adult, because those are some of the things, the basics that we learned. So it's like taking a little bit, or maybe even a great deal in some instances of what you learned and how you were brought up and what was instilled in you, and imparting that on your child as well. But at the same time, allowing them the freedom to be themselves and to be heard, and to not be living in anyone's shadow.
I think, just to piggyback off of what Sheila said, it's the more transparency. It's important for us to not only say a thing, but what Sheila said earlier in regards to, because that's my child and I'm a role model in a way, I need them to see me doing the things that I say you should do. As far as your character, how you carry yourself. And as it reflects on how we've changed today, while we do have social media and it's a platform. I won't say good or bad, right? Because it's how we use it. But we also must be aware that there's so much now vying for our children, whether they are young, in the middle, or young adults. There's so many different viewpoints coming at them. They have so much information. I won't say knowledge because, you know, you may know something, but do you know how to navigate that? So, as a mother, I think if we start the foundation of having a good relationship with them, and they have that where they can come to you and tell you anything, like how Virginia said her sons are able to come to her and tell her anything, you know, and like, oh, if I don't come to you, who am I going to? To be able to filter some of the things that they're exposed to now in social media, to help to be that God light for them,
Mhm.
that beacon of, okay, I see a lot of stuff around here that's a little, I don't know, but you know, I could talk to my mom and get some type of grounding, you
Mhm.
know, and not feel funny about having a question about something that maybe we both are looking at like, oh wow, that's interesting. But to be able to have those conversations with your children, I think are really important, especially as they're transitioning and they're now adults. Um, what we were told growing up, because we were all in that 50 plus generation, I was taught to, you know, see not heard. So
Mhm.
I heard a lot of stuff that I wish I hadn't heard, seen some things that I wish I hadn't seen. But because I was from that see and don't say nothing generation, you can see a whole lot, but you need to keep it, you know,
Mhm.
keep your mouth quiet, right? With our children, it's different. They see, hear, and tell everything. So depending on what
Mhm.
you want them to be and what you want to show up as, you got to be careful what you exposing them to.
Mm.
So we have to be intentional about not only the good things, because there's really great experiences, but also acknowledge the things that they felt weren't good, even if it was, but they didn't feel like it was. But acknowledge something that really wasn't, and be transparent enough and be strong enough in who you are as their mom to be able to take that and listen to the conversation. But like Sheila said, you better put some respect on those verbiage when you're
Mm.
talking to me. But I'm listening. I want to listen and be open to you. But at the same time, you're still talking to your mother. I'm not, you know, I'm not your. Look, I'm getting old school. I'm not your friend.
No,
I'm
no,
your
no, you can
mom.
say it right, Eugenia. I'm not one of your little friends. All
Right,
right.
right. I ain't your little friend. But I'm willing to listen to you and be here. So I think it's important that now it wasn't so much conversation. I remember things that I talked to my mom as an adult now. I didn't even think about having those conversations with her when I was younger, in
Mhm.
my 20s and 30s, because I was like, I felt funny talking to her about certain stuff.
Yeah.
Now, my children, they could come to me and talk about things that I wouldn't have even thought about saying it to my mom. They could come to me and have those conversations. And I think that's important. But I
Mhm.
also had a grandmother that I told almost everything to. Like she was the one that I told stuff to before I told my mom. Sometimes I told her.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
having that mom, being
Mhm.
that mother for your children. But it's also good to share the love, having aunties that your sisters that they can go to, you know, someone like my grandmother. So I think it's also important for our children to know we're here for them, but we also created that village where you have an aunt or a godmommy, or you have a grandparent that you can get wisdom from or talk to, so you don't feel like, oh, if I don't have my mom, what am I going to do? And create that environment for them where they have that, where they can talk to people that love and care about them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I would say just well, I'll go back to my kids because, like I said, I pretty much was a single parent. And for my kids, what I see them doing, raising their boys, so now I have three grandkids. Um, they're parents now. they're involved in their kids' lives because they did not have a father. And the part that's so amazing about that is their village is a lot of single guys that they're friends. They're very involved in their kids' lives, and it comes from they didn't have a father, so they don't want their father. So I see this kind of total little village with my
Mhm.
kids, but then when I go on the outside and look at other things in the community, I don't really see that. Um,
Mm.
I see a lot of disrespectful kids because now I'm in a school system,
Yeah.
and they're disrespectful because they're missing loves and hugs and validation.
Mm. And so I'm glad you went there because my next question was gonna be right, like because I know Shirley, you're not a grandmother yet, but I was
Mhm.
gonna say for Regina and Gina, right? Like what differences do you see in how your children are raising their children, right? From
Mhm.
how you raise them, and then I was also gonna ask about like the village, right? Because we
Mhm.
all grew up in an
Mhm.
era where you lived on a block, everybody knew everybody.
Yeah.
Somebody could snatch you up and then
Yeah.
And
take you
yeah, and
home, tell
yeah, and
your
my
mother,
son, yeah,
right?
my sons say that they got that from me
Mm,
because as a single parent, I had a village.
mm,
Right.
So and a lot of these because we're in not South Carolina, where am I? North Carolina, and a lot of their friends are from, as they call down here, up top. When you say they say you from up top, so a lot of them from New Jersey, and they just kind of went, and they kind of knew each other's circles, and like the guys that were single parents, and some of them had parents that had the same values that I did. And I
Mm.
could hear my son. Well, he'll tell me, he'll get my opinion, and he'll be on the phone with one of his friends, and he'll tell me what the friend said, and this, that. And they're kind of like schooling each other on the old school, how we are learning, which I find very interesting, but in a good way. But it goes back to what you put, the values that you put in your
Yeah.
kids, and you think that they don't have as they get older, those values come out.
one of the things that's interesting is you see more, at least I feel like you see more single dads,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Than than we're used to, right?
Right.
Right.
They're stepping up to the plate. And that's one thing that my son said. He said he doesn't want his children to fill the void that he felt. And so does his friends. And they have one friend that had both parents in their life. And he does some things that he'll leave his son or kind he, it's he's not with the girl. So and they talk about it.
Mm.
But he told me, he said, but he doesn't understand because he had both his parents, so he doesn't know the effect that it's having on his kid. And I was like, hmm, y'all real grown, huh? But they're young men that are talking about these things that they don't like to see. And then when I say young, they're just hitting 30. They're,
Mhm.
Right.
you're not really fine. They're guys are still. But
Mhm.
I thought that was very interesting. So
So how do you think like how do you think like you guys can support and help, some of the younger generation, like young women now raising their children. It's such a different time, right? A lot of them have to work and they're single, some are single mothers, some are not, right? Some have that dynamic of holding down a job but also having to raise a kid, all of that. Like what advice would you give to someone like that's just like struggling with the demands of motherhood and being a professional, having a career, etc.?
Can I be blunt?
Hmm.
Okay, cool.
Well, we know you're gonna be blunt.
Okay, I'm just saying, look here. Okay. So we have to understand, and we don't have to look too far back to look at women that had to do it before us with less than what we've had.
Mhm.
And so I think we need to encourage the younger mothers to say, listen, we get it that you're going through. We understand that. I understand it because at one point I was a single parent with my two daughters. And if it wasn't for the village that I had at some critical times, I would have been all the way stressed out. Um, but to be open, and I'm just going to say this because we're talking to the mothers. Our children are not copycats of who we are. They are uniquely and wonderfully made. They're not little versions of us, so we need to be mindful not to dress them up as
Mm,
little versions of us. If you are not with the father, try to be open to co-parenting. If that isn't going in a direction that you needed to go, then trust and create the village to support you in what you're doing. And understand that you may have to make some decisions that's in the best interest of your child.
mm,
And you may feel a kind of way about that, you know, because I hear this a lot. So I'm doing everything and he's not, or you know, or she's not. I'm busting my butt, and I'm going to say this: yes, you are, and that child deserves whatever you have to give him or her because they did not ask to be here.
mm,
You made a decision. And when you made a decision to have that child, you needed to count up the cost of what that would look like to raise that child. So while it is challenging, it's very challenging, but it's doable. You have to decide, though, that you're not going to be mad about where you are and then work intentionally to keep loving on your child and also love and be patient with yourself.
mhm,
You know, because sometimes we feel, you know, I see the younger mom say, you know, I wish I had this and that and the other. Well, guess what? Some of us did too. We wish we'd have had things a certain kind of way too sometimes. But the reality is that us here, that I know the ones I'm talking to right now, we intentionally want to do the best we could for our children. And sometimes that meant, you know, the other things that I wanted to do, I have to push that to the back burner because that's going to interfere with my ability to do the best job as the parent.
mm,
So I think, you know, we're in this generation where it's about me and my, you know, I want to live my best life and, you know, I got things I want to do and things I want to accomplish. And that's all well and good. You know what? When you say with no children, you can do all of that. But if you're going to do grown up things and create a grown up result, which is a child, then you're going to have to make grown up decisions.
mm,
And that's not the child's fault. And sometimes when we're frustrated, and even parents, young and old, you know, we say things that children shouldn't hear. So I say be mindful what you say around your child because while they may not be able to do or say anything, they're being impacted by your conversations. So it's not that you don't have a right to say anything, you don't have a right to feel overwhelmed or whatever that is, but understand that your child also doesn't need to hear that because now that child is going to be like, is it me? Did
mm,
I do something? So we just have to be mindful. And it's not every parent's single parent situation. You got some that are, have the village, so they have the support, so they can, you know, have that balance. You know, they have, you know, the auntie and the grandma and stuff. And if you have a co-parenting relationship, that's beautiful. My hope is that you have more uh, moms that are together with their dads, you know, and maybe you're juggling being a mother, a wife, you know, working this career, and that's a different type of thing. So the reality is, the nucleus of it all is when you become that mom, there's privileges and responsibilities of being a mother, and it's everyone's book is slightly different from the next because of our individual situations. But what we have in common is the love that you have when you have that child and your desire to push your best foot forward. And even in this generation, you know, my concern is some of the rhetoric and the stuff, the influences, the external influences. You know, certain things I wouldn't listen to around my children because I knew it wasn't
mm.
appropriate for their ears. And certain movies I didn't take my children to see because I knew it wasn't appropriate for them to see. So we have to be mindful that you do need me time, but you can't include them in the things that's not appropriate for them at the ages they are. So we just have to be mindful of that. So I don't I don't want to I'm not coming down because I've seen some mothers out here, some in their 30s and 40s, and I'm super honored and proud to know them. I've seen them from raising them and being in the nursery at my church, and now they're grown women with wives and with husbands and children, and they just really doing the daggone thing. But then you got some that need to honor their role a little better. Honor your role as a mother. It's a privilege and a responsibility, and we don't get to do none of it over. So whatever you say and do in front of your child, whatever you allow in their lives, that's impacting them. Okay? So we need to be mindful of how we do and how we show up. And like Sheila said earlier, what type of role model are we being in front of our children? We need to pay attention to that.
Wow.
So I'm gonna say that. I held back, but I'm gonna leave it right there.
All right.
Yeah, girl,
Because Pookie's on my
that's
shoulder.
your
I'm just
whole
Yeah, I
saying.
know it was. But also those women, not Gina, you is absolutely correct in that. But sometimes they're babies raising babies. And they don't
That's
have any foundation. So we as the aunties, or I look to women, if I see, and I try to meet them where they are and reach out and give them some guidance, or hey, here's my number, or can we meet? Because no one they don't want you to tell them, because this generation they think they know everything, and they don't. But sometimes if you're just there for them, and you can't save everybody, but that's some of the roles that I could be there for someone that needs help. But respectfully, you're going to listen to me. You're not going to disrespect me. And if I find that I'm just wasting my breath, then I'll back off and love you from afar. But I'll try.
Ooh.
yeah,
So-
that's
what say you?
Sheila, you was gonna say something?
yeah. It's in most situations, because unfortunately there are some mothers out there who truly are alone and they don't have anyone to
Yeah.
turn to. But in most situations, there's always somebody there, so you don't have to go through it alone. Whether you have your significant other, or you have your mother, or an auntie, or someone, a cousin, or a good sister friend, there's somebody there that's going to be able to help you, and you just have to be open to it. Mothers, Lord knows, we are possessive. That's my child. I know what's best for my child. But sometimes it helps to listen to others, especially, and it doesn't have to be someone who has had, a gang load of kids. It could be that
Right.
one person who is, a teacher or a mentor who doesn't have any children, or that one person that just has one child. There's always someone there that's going to help you. And for those women that are really, truly alone, it's just a matter of, and I don't want to simplify it by saying it's just a matter of, but there are resources out there as well. You just have to, reach out, go to social services and just, explain to them that you need some assistance, so that you can have somebody there that you can talk to that can help you out.
And I would say Google is your best friend. Like, you like to be on the internet, you find the nicest shoes and this and that. Google a friend, Google a community, Google a help center, Use the internet for the positive when you're going through.
Right.
If you don't, like what Sheila said, if you don't have those, there's all types of resources. As Gina said, it's information use it to better yourself.
What would you say to the Gen Xers, our generation that finds themselves now raising their children's children?
Oh, Lord, help us. That would be me, sort of, kind of. Because you guys say Gen Xers, but I am on the far end of baby boomers.
Right.
So the very, very far end. Because that's such a wide spread of that. But I ended up having to have my grandson who's here right now because I'm not in the place where I normally do the show. And he just came down. He knows that he'll be seen. And I'm like, if you guys can see, I'm like telling him on the back, no, you can't come. Because now I wanted to be downstairs. I didn't want to be upstairs. And it's some of the battles of a totally different generation. And then this is one of the things I was saying. My grandson is 12 and he's very active, very talkative. And I have quiet moments. And he's just talking. He's like, Grandma, do you hear me? Or actually, he calls me Mom. Mommy, do you hear me? I'm just like, oh God, yes. But so it's kind of taking some of your, but it's my joy in the same breath. But I didn't think that I would be doing this. And I made it clear the other two, I will not be doing this. He is the oldest, and it stemmed from his mom not really being there. And we were in Jersey and the whole transition. And when I stepped up and said that I was going to just raise him, my son was already in North Carolina. He'd already moved down. And he said it wasn't my responsibility. And so he took him. So he had him pretty much 8-9 years. And then when my son is in Greensboro and I'm in Charlotte. And it was a situation that I needed to keep him, I thought, for a year. And my grandson actually got so comfortable here. His father's really willing to take him, but he feels more comfortable with me. So
what advice would you give to
be patient, really weigh out your options, because I stepped into a situation that needed help, but I always made it clear when they had kids, those are your kids. I raised my kids. So I didn't just come in for me. But if that's your joy, some parents, that's definitely not my joy. For me, I just stepped into a situation that needed to, like you said, you were always going to help your kids. So at that point, I needed to help my son. So that's what I did. And there are times, for instance, the retreat, his father came over and said, I'm going to take you with me and we're going to hang out. But he wanted to go with his friends. And I told him, I said, no, because this is going to be a good weekend for me when I come home. I don't want to cook. I don't want to do anything. I just want to just chill. And he still wanted to go. And I put my foot down firmly and my son put his foot down firmly. Your grandmother needs time. So those are the boundaries. I have boundaries. And they know when I say it's time for me, it's time for me. So if you're going to do that, set your boundaries and know where you stand, and don't be a crutch for them, because that's really their children. And it goes back to their children. And I always remind my grandson, you're not my child. You're my grandson. I've raised my kids. Mm-hmm. And I keep that in his mind. And I know he looks at me as a mother, but I don't even know where your mother. I make him know you have a mother. Mm-hmm. Regardless, at the end of the day, I'm not your mother. Because I think that needs to be clear. Because when he gets older and he does reach out to his mom, I don't want him to say, well, my grandma, no, I was there for you, but you have a mother. Mm-hmm. So I just feel like you have to do that.
So how do you guys celebrate Mother's Day? Like, what's your tradition? Do you have traditions? Like, especially now, like your children are older, they have their own families. Like,
Well,
like you said, now that everybody's older, it used to be take mommy out to dinner. We all go out to our favorite spot in Jersey and have my favorite spinach dip with the with the smoked salmon
what
and
spot is that in Jersey?
what's the name of it? Oh my gosh, I'm mad that I can't think of the restaurant. Is We used to go there every year, guaranteed, at least
What
for
part of
Mother's
Jersey?
Day. It's like right,
What city?
it's not far in. Um,
Hoboken or something like that? Because you're
well, I
close
know
enough.
Hillside is the equivalent. Is a Hillside is the one of the brands they have in New York. I just can't think of the restaurant. Before we get off to that, I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
That's
But
gonna bother
I'm
her.
telling you,
That's gonna bother her. She don't like
they
that.
had the best smoked salmon and they had the best spinach. Oh, I loved it. And it was right next to the Cheesecake Factory. So um
Oh, that's
yeah,
in
in Edison. Well, there's one in Edison
Edison.
and there's one
That's
in
in
Bergen
Edison.
County.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bergen County. It was in Bergen County.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right. They do have one in Bergen County. There was the
yeah.
first one was in Edison that they opened.
Oh, is it not Houston's?
What say it again?
Houston's?
Yes, girl,
Yeah,
Houston.
there we go.
Okay,
Riverside,
yeah, okay.
and when you say right across the bridge, I'm like Riverside Drive, Riverside,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
mall, right? That
Yep.
mall, Riverside. Yeah.
That was the
I was
favorite
just
spot.
wondering. I'm like, I want to know what restaurant she described.
Hmm.
Yeah, that Houston, that man, look at here.
I heard of it.
And
I never
now
been. I never been
it's
there.
it's so good.
Yeah.
But what I
Mhm.
do now is, the children say, "Mom, what you want for Mother's Day?" Okay, so the first few years I'll be like, "Oh, you know what I want? I want to make sure you're doing okay. You're out on your own now. I want to make sure you're paying your bills and stuff. You all right?" And then they was like, Mom, what you want for Mother's Day? Tell me what you want." So at first I felt funny, like, y'all gotta. I'm like, the rent went. Here I go, right? I'm the economist for them. The rent went up. Everything's a little expensive. I don't want to be taking for y'all and stuff. Now I'll be like, all right. I'm gonna start. Okay, this is what I want. But I even when I say it, I'm like, I don't. Y'all don't have to go too crazy. Are y'all good? I'm good if you good. But then they's like, Mom, come on. So they was just would bring, they'll give me a necklace or something like that. Or, I love cards. I'm very mushy. So I love a good Mother's Day card. So you
Mhm.
give me a beautiful Mother's Day card that says something that I know comes from your heart. Like seriously, I'm like, I'll say this out loud, but if they don't give me anything too tough, I'm not mad. I'm okay with it. But if they do give me something nice, I love that too. But now I
Sure.
feel happy that they're grown and I don't have to cook. Some Mother's Day I had to do all the cooking. I'm like, that ain't fun. What? So I don't have to do that anymore. So I enjoy whatever version of the way they express loving me as their mom is. I'm open to it. I don't really look for anything. I don't ever feel like I want to put them out. But I have one in particular. He's the son. Something about them boys, y'all. It's just different. He's like, Mom, what you want? It's Mother's Day coming up. What you want? I'm not gonna tell him nothing because he's not gonna accept that. He just won't accept not getting something for Mother's Day for me. So I have learned to love and appreciate that. And I'll be like, okay, this is what I want. He's like, okay, send it to me. I get it.
Nice.
And
Sheila,
I still keep it, and I'm still counting his pennies, even though his coins are bigger than mine. But I'm still like, I don't want to do too much, you know.
Sheila, what's yours
Yeah,
like?
well,
Because your son,
yeah, he's 24. Now that used to be my line. It's like, Mom, what do you want for Mother's Day? And I'd be like, I just want your love. That's all a mother needs. And then, of course, after a while, he was like, all right, Mom, what do you want for Mother's Day? And don't tell me.
Right.
And genuinely it was because I didn't know what I really wanted. But for the longest time, my two sisters and I, Mother's Day was our day, right?
Mm.
So I know a lot of mothers were like, I need to be, it's Mother's Day and I need to be with my children. And my sisters and I, we would get together because we're all mothers, but that was our day. So we would go out, we'd go get something to eat, go get something to drink, maybe do a little shopping, but that's how we would spend Mother's Day. And then after a while, then we flip flop, and like my husband and my son, like one will make breakfast and the other will make dinner. But this Sunday, we're gonna go back to our regular tradition, and we're gonna do a girls' brunch.
Nice.
Nice.
Yes.
So that's a good idea for any woman out there that's listening, right? This is in fact, we got so engrossed in the conversation. This is the woman to woman show, woman to woman show on the New You Nation Network, and we're just having some conversations as we get close to Mother's Day on some of the Mother's Day traditions and how we can support mothers and support each other. So that's cool. A nice little brunch. Yeah. What would you say to the mothers that are the mothers or the children are the individuals that are going to struggle a little bit this Mother's Day because they're missing a loved one?
Yeah, that's tough. But it's just do something in the memory of that person, whether it's your mother or grandmother or aunt or someone who played a significant role in your life. Do something memorable and joyous in their honor. If you knew that your mother would love a glass of champagne on her day, on Mother's Day, have a glass of champagne. If you knew that, carnations were her favorite flower, buy some carnations. So think about the positive and the beautiful memories and something that would make her smile or make her happy. And that really does, that helps you get through it. You're going to miss them like crazy because, it's Mother's Day and I don't get the chance to say Happy Mother's Day to you. So you just do something to honor them.
Mm-hmm.
I would just what Sheila said is perfect. I don't need to add anything. My grandmother has been gone. It'll be 10 years this year, and I always say she was my first best friend, and she helped raise me, and so a lot of who I am as far as my joy for cooking, treating people with respect and love, and smiling. That I got a lot of that from her, and so I try to do positive stuff. Like on Mother's Day, we will all go see her, and all the family, cousins, aunties, and my uncles. Everybody would go up there, and it's around her. So I think, like Sheila said, just do something in their memory. Do something that would make them smile. Um, especially if you're a mom, missing your mom or missing that elder that had that impact. Just celebrate them, and just know that now they're looking out for you. Now you got another angel watching out for you, even though you can't have them with you in real life, but their presence and what they left, the positive memories and the lessons they taught you, those are things that you can take time to reflect on Mother's Day and just really embrace what they meant to your lives and how much they still mean to you.
Yeah. I concur.
You're like, I don't have anything else to add. I don't have anything else to add.
Yeah. I would say what I do for Mother's Day, I don't do anything. I do whatever I want to do.
I like that. I do whatever I want.
You do whatever you want.
Whatever I want to do that day, because for birthdays, Christmas and stuff, I'm blessed that my boys, they do things for me all the time and I do things for them. So we have come up with birthdays every day, Mother's Days every day, Children's Day, whatever, it's every day. So it's not a present for us. Sometimes we're in each other's presence.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
typically it's so commercialized. Like going out to dinner for me, I would not because the restaurants are just too feel that's just like Valentine. Well, I don't have no Valentines anyway, but that's another topic. But
You said
so
Valentine's Day is another time.
yeah, so I just really do whatever I wake up that day and I want to do. That's what I want to do.
Mm.
And sometimes I'm annoyed if my kids come. What do you want? No, I want to do what I want to do. What is that? I don't
You
know.
said
But
you
whatever
want
it is, that does not include you coming over here.
It's like sometimes you're like, no, don't come over.
Mhm, mhm. And I'll just do whatever. Theo, me and you might go out. Whatever. Let's go out to lunch. Well, we ain't going out. We'll do something else. we not gonna go out to eat because those restaurants be packed. But
Yes.
I feel like the restaurants down here are always packed.
they are, because that's all people do is eat.
Eat.
That's the only thing. That is, if you ask somebody, that's the first thing they're gonna say. Let's go out to eat. Like, dang, y'all don't do nothing else. That was hard to get used to. I'm still not used to it because I can't even tell you where a good restaurant is. Really. Although this is off topic. My friend had a birthday celebration Saturday. I went to something uptown, some hotel, AC hotel on the rooftop. This DJ was playing the baddest house music. I said, "Are you from New York, New Jersey?" I said, he's like, no, he knew all the DJs in Jersey. And he said, I was asking the man, I said, the man probably think I was stalking him. I got his card to follow him on, but he's from Miami. He goes there. So Theo, that's a place we got to go.
I think I've been to that rooftop.
It's called Nirvana or something like that.
Yeah, I think I've been to that one.
But he said he travels from Miami to there. He said, just follow me on IG. I
don't think the night I went, he was there.
No, he's not there every night. That's why you gotta see. That's where he goes, between Miami and that.
So the rooftops might not be crowded on Mother's Day.
Yeah, the rooftop was very nice.
Yeah.
There's several rooftops though.
Yeah.
That one was very, very nice. And that vibe, I was like, he was playing Superman. I said, "Oh, Superman! What? See, this old seasoned girl can get out there and shake a leg.
All right now.
Season and fabulous. Season and fabulous.
There you go. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And Sheila, girl, they had some wine that you would die for.
Listen, now you talk. You look, some house music and wine, girl.
Yes,
you talking
girl,
my
yes.
language.
Yes, so that's what I mean. For my little Mother's Day, let me do what I want to do. Come on now.
I agree with that.
But that's in general, right? So I mean, that's the great thing about just this whole platform, right? That Trey has created, because it's just an opportunity to show those women who are seasoned and fabulous, right?
That's right.
Listen, that seasoned and fabulous does not mean life stops.
No,
Right.
I had me a good old time.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, I think I've been to that particular one.
Yeah, and look, I came home at 10 o'clock.
But see,
That's it.
but I was gonna say that is the difference, right? Because now you be like, before we used to be leaving the house at
Right. Right.
But we got there, but I really had a full day, and I probably would have stayed longer. But it was pretty. But I had a full day. I had been up since whatever time.
But
But
also down here, stuff closes early. Like that in New York, we used to that, right? Like the party start at 12 a.m. Right? So
Yeah.
that's why you leaving at 10.
Well,
Down
uptown
here,
it would have closed, but that place closed. That
they
did
close
close
back
at
at 2,
12. So
right?
that wasn't.
Yeah, they close. Yeah, so
In in New Jersey, yeah, Jersey, they close at 2. New York, they stay open all night. So
yeah, and then
They
down
open at
here,
4 in the morning.
yeah, oh yeah. Listen,
Just saying,
back,
that's what I heard. That's what I heard. That's what I
back in
heard.
back in the day, you know how we used to do it. We leaving the
But
club,
I used to just, but you could
we
just
going for
be in
breakfast.
Manhattan, just walking around.
Right.
Just because one time
Yeah.
my friends came in, they one was from California, one was from Atlanta. I was in Jersey, so I met them, and I kind of met them in Manhattan, and we was walking, but they had a hotel. We did so much stuff because they said, "Does it ever go to sleep?" I'm like, "No."
Nope.
To the point
No.
that I ended up just spending the night in their hotel room, and we got up the next day. But that's how you roll in New
Yeah.
York. That's how
Yep,
you
yep.
roll.
Me and my god sister we used to go out to work. We pack our bag. We go for breakfast. We used to
Mhm.
work on Saturday. You go to Saturday, go in the bed, freshen up, put on some clothes.
Mhm.
Then when you go home,
Mhm.
crash.
Yep.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So,
And get ready to do it
Yeah,
all again.
exactly.
mhm.
But you didn't. It was like you didn't worry too much about being
Mhm.
out
But
late and
Yeah.
yeah.
safety. Now you're like, oh,
Yeah. Now it's a little different.
yeah.
Got come on in at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, we have hit our hour. And so, do any of you have any last words? Anything that you want to share with mothers for this Mother's Day weekend? Before we close, like what message would you share with someone on this day that's coming up?
I'll just say, moms, love on yourself.
Mhm.
Um, we're not meant to be perfect. We show up and be the best versions of ourselves. So while it's a day that's like given to us. You rock as a mom, whether it's this Sunday, next Sunday, or any other Sunday. That you show up and you're there for your children, you're there for your family, doing the best you can. And it's about just getting up each day with the intent on being the best version of yourself as a mom, as a woman, as a person.
Amen.
So that's a little moment for you to just put some extra love on yourself. And I hope and pray that the people around you that see that you're working hard to do the best job you can, will just love on you and give you that space to breathe. So give yourself the space to breathe and the grace to know that you're still doing your thing every day.
Nice.
It's all about self-care. So use Mother's Day to celebrate yourself, however that looks for you, whether it is with your children, by yourself, with some friends, whether you stay indoors and in your bedroom with the door locked so no one else can come in, or you go out and you grab something to eat or go shopping. Do what celebrating you looks like for you. And when in doubt about this journey called motherhood, that's just as hard as it is rewarding, take a look at that child when they're sleeping.
Mm.
You see that sleeping face, there's something about a child sleeping that just makes it all worthwhile.
Amen.
Nice.
Yeah. And I would say to the aunties, Theo, because you've been a mother, even though you didn't naturally have a child, but you've been there for so many women. So you're a mother too. You mothered, you mentored. So for all the women out there, love on yourselves too, because you've been a part of that village.
That's right.
Yeah, nice. And
Absolutely.
I would just say for those women who might be missing a loved one, missing a grandmother, a mother, a sister, right? You don't have to be alone. Like if you want to be alone, that's fine. But if you feel like you need someone, reach out. And for those of us that know someone that might be struggling,
Yeah.
remember to check on
Mhm.
that person.
Yeah.
You know, so that no one has to spend the day, right, in a way that is not, you know, good for them. So that would be my message, right? And so this is the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network. We are here again on, I want to say May
The 20th.
20th
The
or
20th.
something,
No,
right?
is it
20th.
the? Yep, the 20th.
The 20th. So
We'll be
we are
back
here
on the
again on the
20th.
20th. And so that is our season finale, right? So that will be our last show before we take a break for the summer. So we don't know what we're going to be talking about, but we're going to have some fun. That's going to be a fun closing topic. It'll be our season finale. So join us on the 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network. We hope to see you, and we want to wish every single person a happy Mother's Day this upcoming Sunday. And we're going to close as we normally close, and we're going to say truth
plus
plus transparency.
truth plus transparency equal healing.
Healing.
All right. Have a nice night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Happy
everyone.
Mother's Day.
Yes.
That's right. Happy Mother's Day.